Hello, this is Sandman 99.
And I'm Rec5.
Yes, and I want to welcome you to the very exclusive and prestigious Spectacle Island Gun Club and Shooting Range. So, we're going to be given a demonstration here by our lovely character, Sam Perry. And you may notice that Sam looks a little bit odd. That's because Sam Perry is a vampire from the Sanguinaire mod by Christopher 4684. And so that's also why we're doing this at night, because during the daytime, of course, it would take roughly 5 seconds to fry and die. But anyway, Spectacle Island. I turned it into a gun club and shooting range. And I have invited Rec5X to join me on this demonstration because we're going to talk today a little bit about shotguns and modification that we made. Rec5X is the co-author of this mod that we want to demonstrate.
I helped. You did most of it.
Well, yes, but you are actually the lead author on several mods that we have made. And I know I'm the lead author on a few as well, some of the simpler ones, because I'm still learning this. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the gun range, because we did a little bit of research on ranges and what they meant in this game. And the math is pretty thick, but basically what we did is, after looking at all of that and trying to figure things out, we figured out that roughly 128 range units is equal to 3 game world feet.
Yep.
Which really is kind of confusing. So what we did is we just figured out how wide is one of these floor tiles.
And we did it using yardsticks.
And we did it using yardsticks. And these yardsticks are a little out of place now because
Somebody walked in.
NPCs walk into them and stuff like that and disturb them. And one of them is missing. But what we discovered when these were all laid nicely, perfectly end-to-end, because Rec5X actually spent considerable amount of time and effort to lay these yardsticks perfectly end-to-end so that the end of that yardstick was right in the corner and the little metal tips of all the yardsticks actually matched up, is that one of these blocks is exactly 3.5 yards across.
Yep.
And since they are cube-shaped, well, that means that this wall is 3.5 yards tall. And of course, we have the ceiling there, which takes up some of the wall length because the way the concrete pieces work, the concrete ceiling fits inside the wall, not on top of it.
Yep.
And the same with the floor piece. So it looks a little less than 3.5 yards, but it's actually not. We actually stood one of those yardsticks up against the wall, and then my character up next to it, and one of those yardsticks comes up to roughly elbow height on this character.
Yep.
Meaning that this character is approximately 2 yards tall. Right? Like everybody in Fallout 4. Everybody is 2 yards tall. 6 feet tall. So anyway, that's how we determined ranges. And what I did was I built this, and I built it using concrete floor blocks so that we could count the number of blocks in a distance from the target, and then we could calculate by multiplying the number of blocks by 3.5 to figure out how many yards away the target is.
Yes.
And then what I did, of course, is I put these nice little glowy bottles here, so if you stand about where the glowy bottle is and point straight down the range, well then you're going to be pointing at
A target.
panel number 1, target number 1, that row.
Yep.
Or row 2 or row 3 or what have you, depending on which little glowy bottle you're standing in front of.
Yep.
And the range here is about 105 yards, according to our calculations. Now, the longest range that we have is 133 yards, and there is a reason for that, and it's not the space, because I did have enough room to build this longer. But what I discovered I'm using a mod called Long Range Bullet Holes by SL8J, which is a pretty old mod, actually. It's from 2015, but it still works. And basically what this mod does, here we got a nice, okay, we need to find a rifle with a scope so that I can show. What this mod does is it actually allows you to make bullet marks on the wall from further away than about 3 floor squares. This one will do, splatter cannon. It has a scope and it will allow me to make bullet holes on the wall from this far away. As soon as we find it.
Right there, up.
Yeah. Okay. So of course I've made splatter cannon into a machine gun, but still. Okay, we'll aim it there. Oh, we need some ammunition for this gun. Boy! Alright, we'll go grab some 7.62 here. I forgot I don't carry ammunition for weapons that I don't use because we are playing on survival here. And of course ammunition has weight. There, that ought to be enough. So,
okay, we got some ammunition now.
We'll go over here. We got some ammunition now. We're going to look through the scope. We're going to shoot at that blank wall space there. And as you can see, it makes some bullet holes in the wall.
Because of long-range bullet holes.
Because of the mod long-range bullet holes. If I didn't have that mod, I would not be able to make marks on the wall like that from any further away than about 3 floor tiles distance.
Yep.
Because that's just how the vanilla game works. And by the way, you have to have decals activated in one of your .ini files in order to make that work. It is set up that way by default, but you may accidentally deactivate it if you install some you know, texture, like general environment texture mods and that kind of thing. So what I found was I had to spend painful hours doing research on the internet in order to find out how to basically change the value of that particular line in a very long text file,
so
.ini file, from 0 back to 1 again, so that I could actually have
bullet holes.
Bullet holes. So anyway, as I said, we digressed a fair bit here, but we're going to talk about shotguns. I like shotguns. Basically, nothing beats a shotgun at close range for stopping power. If you want to kill something at close range and you really, really mean it, a shotgun is the way to go. Okay? I don't care what people say about Gauss rifles and all that kind of crap. Gauss rifle, in my opinion, is the apex sniper weapon. Because of the way it works, you have to charge each shot in order to get the most out of it. Whereas with a shotgun, you just point and shoot. And even double-barreled shotguns, if you get a nice legendary effect, like one of my characters, I actually was fortunate enough to find a double-barreled shotgun with the never-ending legendary effect on it.
Yep.
So you never have to reload it, and that's awesome. That is probably one of the most powerful weapons in the game.
There are some problems with vanilla shotguns.
There are problems with vanilla shotguns.
So the first is you could be inside of like 6 feet, and you absolutely obliterate anything you shoot at. And then outside of 6 feet, and it's like blowing on someone.
Yeah, you'll notice how big the targeting reticle is here. And that basically shows you what the approximate spread of all the pellets that you fire from your shotgun will cover. And this is a sawed-off shotgun, so it's got the shortest barrel possible.
And as a result, it's very large.
Yeah, so the spread is huge. And we are at a range of 7 yards, or 2 floor tiles here.
Yeah.
And at 7 yards, basically, it's kind of questionable as to whether I'd actually kill that guy or not, because it looks like about half of the pellets will probably miss him. See, I did some reading on shotguns in Fallout 4 lore, and the standard shotgun load is a 12-gauge buckshot, which fires 8 pellets per shot. and of course the pellets spread, and it is a variable given in the actual barrel value.
Yep.
So if I'm standing this close, I'll probably hit him with every pellet.
Yep.
Right? But as soon as I back up a little bit, even less than 7 yards, even at about 5 yards, it becomes questionable as to whether I'm going to even be able to hit him or not with them all of them. But anyway, we'll do some test shots here.
Yep.
So here we go. Boom. Now, as you can see with the standard sawed-off barrel,
You clearly missed with 3 pellets.
I clearly missed with 3 pellets. Now, this is okay, I suppose, if there were 2 raiders standing shoulder to shoulder, or 3 raiders standing shoulder to shoulder. I might have been able to hit 2 or even 3 of them from here. But if you hit one raider, murder boss king, at this range with a single pellet from a shotgun, it's probably just going to make him mad.
Yeah.
Okay? And the fact that you have to reload shotguns after firing 2 shots as well makes it kind of a liability. Okay? So we're going to switch now to the standard barrel, which is also referred to as the short barrel, double-barrel shotgun. And as you can see, the spread is not much narrower. So we're going to skip a tile here, and we're going to move over to this one. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just aim for the center of the body and pull the trigger. And it looks like this one, the spread is a little tighter, but I definitely missed him with 2 pellets.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's definitely not really all that great of an improvement at all.
No. So now we're going to switch to the longest barrel available for the double-barreled shotgun. If I can find that shotgun again.
I think that one's just called
Yeah,
double
it's
barrel.
just called the double-barreled shotgun. Okay? It has the long barrel on it. We'll skip a panel and we'll go over to Mr. Teddy Bear Head here. I'm using mannequins. It's one neat way to display all of the outfits that you find in the game. And it's also kind of cool because it gives you kind of an idea with your shooting range as to what you're going to do.
With a person-sized target.
With a person-sized target. Now, you'll notice that the spread is still pretty wide, even at 7 yards for a double-barreled shotgun.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll aim for the center of the body, pull the trigger. Okay, it looks like maybe I might have missed with 1 pellet there. But if we look at the spread on these, right, that still is a pretty wide spread for a long-barreled weapon.
Yeah.
At 7 yards. Okay? So we got the sawed-off double-barreled shotgun, we got the short-barreled shotgun, and then the long-barreled shotgun. And just for good measure, I actually have a couple of combat shotguns equipped too. And one of them, this is the nimble combat shotgun, and we'll fire at the next higher level here with a short barrel. Okay, and you can see that the spread on the short barrel on a combat shotgun is almost like the sawed-off shotgun, right?
Yep.
Like, it's crazy. So anyway, we'll shoot at this guy up here, Mr. Pink Cowboy. And you can see that it's not quite as wide of a spread as a sawed-off shotgun.
But you still miss with 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, it's very... Oh, it's time to have a temper tantrum again here. Yes, vampires tend to have fits of like fits of rage, and if there happens to be a human nearby, I'll actually dive on that person and tear them to pieces and eat them. Mm. So you have to make sure that you're away from innocent settlers and the like when this kind of thing goes on. And it goes on for a few seconds, and then eventually it will stop. You'll get over it. And of course, I'm not really demonstrating the vampire bloodlines and all that kind of stuff in that mod in this film, but basically, your likelihood of having one of these fits of rage depends on a number of variables. Yeah. I highly recommend that you look up that mod anyway, Sanguinaire, if you want a little bit different playing experience. Anyway, I also have...
Well, anyway, you also ended up still missing with about 2, maybe 3 pellets from that range anyways.
Yeah, that's right. Like that's a pretty wide spread for this shorter range. So anyway, here we go. We got also now a combat shotgun with a long barrel on it. Okay. Has a long ported shielded barrel and,
Yep.
and a suppressor. But you can see that the spread still looks like it's pretty wide, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, in vanilla Fallout 4, the combat shotgun is basically the best shotgun in the game, right?
Yep.
So anyway, if I aim at this guy and fire, well, okay, the spread is a little tighter. It's comparable to the long-barreled, double-barreled shotgun, right?
But head back to even 10 yards.
That's right. Well, we'll go back to our next range here, which is 14 yards.
Yep.
So twice the distance away. Okay? And we'll fire again using our... We'll use the second row up for our combat shotgun.
Yep.
So we're going to skip a panel, right? Skip a panel. And we'll shoot at Mr.
Top hat
guy here with our... well, we'll use the short-barreled shotgun for this one first. So we'll switch back to that one. Now, you see that? Like, it seems highly likely that I will not hit him with most of the pellets. And sure enough, right? You can see that at least two of them spread pretty wide. That one probably missed as well.
Yep.
Right? You know, like I do have a cluster of 5 pellets more or less in the middle. But you can see hole, and another hole there that just missed his head.
Yeah.
Right? So that's with the short barrel at 14 yards. So if we head back down here to Perforator again, which is a legendary shotgun that I made, by the way, because I do have a mod called Sandman's Legendary Weapons, where I've hidden various different types of legendary weapons throughout the game world. But anyway, we'll aim at Mr. Red Overalls here. And even with the long barrel, I
You
don't
ended up
really...
missing with 3 now.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a certain amount of variable to this too, right?
Yeah.
I read that actually with the vanilla shotguns, when you fire a shotgun, the angle that the pellets can leave the muzzle of the gun at is up to 12 degrees. So they don't necessarily all leave at 12 degrees. Apparently it's a random thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, like basically you fire and you will affect targets within a 12-degree cone when you fire a shotgun.
And 12 degrees is pretty huge, especially
Yeah.
at long distances.
Oh yeah, that's crazy, right? We'll see. We'll try out the regular shotguns again here, the double-barreled ones. So I don't know if it's worth it to even try the sawed-off shotgun at this range. We'll go. We'll fire at that guy there. See that now?
You're covering the whole wall.
I'll cover the whole wall and possibly even overlap onto the neighboring walls, right? You see that? That's nuts. I don't think I even hit the wall panel with all of the pellets. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, you hit the floor panel beneath him.
Yeah. So, anyway, then if we switch to the short one, we'll skip a panel, move over. Okay, and there's a guy with a chef's hat there. Okay, we'll aim more or less for the center of his body mass. Even the short-barreled shotgun, I mean, you can see
You've
how
already
wide
missed with 4.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you shoot something at this range with a double-barreled shotgun with anything less than a long barrel...
You're doing half damage.
All you're going to do is piss it off. Well, also, we did some more reading in this, too, when we were working on this mod, and discovered that the damage drop-off beyond the set range for shotgun is 90%.
Yep.
So you have a really steep damage drop-off anyway.
And that's without pellets even missing.
And that's without pellets missing. So anyway, we have the long-barreled shotgun here now. And even the long-barreled shotgun at 14 yards, well, it's questionable as whether, I would say, for sure, 1, 2, possibly 3 pellets missed. Right?
And maybe even 4 if you're really unlucky.
Maybe even 4 if you're unlucky. So, I would say that these guns are not viable in vanilla outside of 7 yards, basically,
Yeah.
regardless of what length of barrel you put on them. And I wouldn't recommend using the sawed-off barrel at all.
Just because it's too much spread.
Yeah. And even at 14 yards, the combat shotguns have so much spread that you're not going to get the biggest bang for your buck out of these. Basically, the way that the game designers made shotguns in this game is they are strictly a point-blank range weapon.
Yeah, you got the shells sticking out the front of the barrel there.
Yeah. and you know what? We did a little bit of research, and we found out that Bethesda's take on shotguns is wrong. Because we watched a couple of videos by some YouTubers who are kind of subject matter experts in firearms. What are their names?
I think one guy, his name was Garantham, he made a video on shotguns. And he was doing some testing on the effective ranges of shotguns.
And the effective range on a shotgun was not 14 yards, was it?
No. He was able to hit things consistently. I think it was within 50 yards, and even out to 80 yards, he was still able to at least partially hit things.
Yeah, and from what I can remember, he was shooting a 410 shotgun that was loaded with buckshot rounds, so it actually only fires 4 pellets.
I don't remember if he was shooting a 410 or if he was shooting a. I think he might have been shooting a 12 gauge. I think he had his Benelli out there, but
anyway,
he ended up. Well, you can continue.
He actually hit. I think the furthest target away he shot at, it was a ballistic gel like torso type target.
Yeah.
And I think 1 or 2 pellets at 100 yards.
Still hit. Yeah.
Still hit.
Yep.
So, and a 12 gauge buckshot pellet apparently is about the same size and heft as a 22 bullet. So, he was saying that he believes that a 12 gauge buckshot load is fatal at up to 100 yards.
Yeah.
So,
but you couldn't do that in Fallout. You'd cover this entire target range.
Yeah, like if we go all the way back to 100 yards, which we can do here. And I'm still got the long barrel on this double-barreled shotgun, by the way. So we're going back to, this is 70 yards. Well, at 70 yards,
you're already covering 4.
I'm already covering 4 of those.
and more.
So I can aim down the sights at that target, but the chances are very high that I won't even hit that target at all.
Yeah.
From this range. It's ridiculous. And of course, if we go back to 100 yards, which we can, well, 105 yards, but still close enough. Well, now we're covering about a quarter of that entire wall.
Yeah.
So, shotguns are not viable weapons in Fallout 4 unless you're within 10 yards.
Yeah.
We might as well say within 10 yards, no matter what kind of shotgun you have, no matter what kind of barrel you have to be inside 10 yards in order to actually kill something.
And I guess I should say, like, of course, the demonstration we saw was with, like, a partly choked shotgun, but even a shotgun without a choke would have more range than 7 yards, you'd think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, anyway, we'll pause briefly because we have to activate our mod.
And we're back now with the shotgun mod loaded up.
Yep, and we've got our sawed-off double-barreled shotgun here. And what we've done is basically just change the parameters for the barrels on shotguns.
So that everything gets tightened up a fair bit.
Yeah, so you can see with our sawed-off shotgun now.
It now looks like the long barrel shotgun did.
Kind of. So we're going to shoot at this fellow here from the same range that we fired our first sawed-off shotgun round from.
Yep.
Okay? So we're going to aim at the center of the torso, pull the trigger, boom. Now you'll notice that at 7 yards, you get a fair bit of spread, but it's not absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, you're still completely and totally hitting the target.
Yeah. And by the way, we have made no modifications to damage or anything like that. I've seen lots of shotgun mods on the Nexus where people have adjusted damage to make them do more damage and that kind of thing. But our take on this is that the shotguns already did enough damage. You just needed to fix the problem with the spread of the pellets.
And that alone makes them actually a lot more deadly.
Yes, absolutely. This weapon is now quite effective at 7 yards. You're going to hit a single target with every pellet. And so if we go to the short double-barreled shotgun, you'll notice that it also has now considerably tighter targeting reticle.
Yeah.
So we'll go to Mr. Baseball Cap over here. And we'll put a load of buckshot into his chest. And if you compare without our mod and with our mod, it looks like, a little bit less spread. It's actually a fair bit tighter.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta have a blood pack here.
It's quite a fair bit tighter.
Yep, and it's a hell of a lot tighter than the vanilla value is.
You can tell that the short barrel is definitely more effective, more accurate, less spread than the sawed-off. There's a big difference between them, but both are effective at this range.
What time is it getting to be here? Uh-oh. Okay.
We'll have to take a quick commercial break.
Well, I've got some sunblock, so I can use that. So we don't fry to death in the sun. Alright. So, anyway, we'll go to the long double-barreled shotgun now. And we'll go around to here. You can see how tight that is.
Yep.
All right. So we'll aim at the center of this guy's chest, pull the trigger, boom. At 7 yards, if you put a long barrel on a double-barreled shotgun, you get almost no spread at all.
Yep.
Right? And, of course, if we switch to our combat shotguns now, because we also made adjustments to the barrels on the combat shotguns. What was that one called? It was called a nimble combat shotgun.
Yep.
This one is the combat shotgun with the short barrel. Okay? So, we'll fire at 7 yards. That was our first shot with it. Here's our second shot from 7 yards. So again, you can look at it and go, wow, that is a much tighter spread with the short barrel.
Yep.
Right? And then we'll go with the long-barreled combat shotgun.
And that's even tighter.
And that's even tighter.
No problem.
Yeah, it basically just makes pretty
One
much
big
just
hole.
2 holes at this range. So, in order to not belabor the point, we'll just head straight out
Glad you're with us.
here
Welcome
to,
back.
say,
Nice to see the Commonwealth hasn't got
70 yards. Because we decided based on the videos that we watched of YouTubers... Oh, it's foggy now. I can't see. Damn it. Well, maybe we will pause briefly
For a commercial break.
so that we can wait until nighttime again, because I designed this firing range to work best at night because of the vampire thing, and also because you get fog just about every other day in Fallout 4. And one of the things that we want to do is avoid the fog. So we're going to pause briefly while we sleep until dark.
Wait.
We're back. And there's Kate. And so we're going to head back out to the target range now that it's dark, and we can actually see the targets again because of we had to stop because of the fog earlier.
Gotta love weather conditions.
Yeah. So anyway, we were going to shoot from 70 yards.
Yep.
Just so that we could do some comparisons here. So I don't think I'll bother with the sawed-off shotgun from 70. Well, maybe we could, just for a laugh. we'll try the sawed-off shotgun from 70 yards, but I don't think it's going to work very well, even with our tightening up of the...
You'll cover like 2 panels.
We're going to cover multiple panels.
Yeah, it's like 4.
All right. So even if we aim at that fellow right there, well, you can see that, you know, like without a scope, because you can't put a scope on double-barreled shotguns, but it looks like we
covered the whole panel.
Covered the whole panel, and we covered...
Good to know there's still people out there.
Like, we were aiming at that guy, right? And you can see the hole up there. And another one there, and another one there. There's one right there, right? Just below the walkway.
From a target you weren't even aiming at. So there you go.
So, yeah, the sawed-off shotgun at 70 yards you can't really use.
Don't much care for
From 35 yards, it's probably not great either, right?
Yeah, it's mostly like maximally effective inside 14 yards. You could hit things with it at 35 yards, but it's not going to be great.
Yeah. So 14 yards, we're going to say, is probably the best or maximum distance that you could use a sawed-off shotgun at.
Yeah.
Which is still a lot better than 7 yards or less.
Well, 5 yards really was the vanilla.
Yeah, 5 yards really is the vanilla. Right, but even at 14 yards, I mean, that's kind of questionable, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll go to the short double-barreled shotgun.
And it's a lot better from 14 yards
already. And it's a lot better
already.
at 14 yards. It's actually going to be a pretty effective weapon still at 14 yards, right?
Yeah, it won't start to lose effectiveness until out to about 35 yards now.
Yeah, at 35 yards, yeah, you might still be able to hit them with half of the pellets, but it's not really going to do a lot.
Yeah, you're going to miss a few.
Okay, and at 100 or at 70 yards, it's going to be a similar situation, I think, to the sawed-off shotgun. Although you may not actually hit neighboring wall tiles.
You'll just hit all of one wall tile.
Yeah. So we aren't going to bother firing a shot with that one, but we'll go to the long-barreled double-barreled shotgun now. And as you can see, the long-barreled double-barreled shotgun at 70 yards will shoot, say, this target. Just as a demonstration. So the top row, second target over from the left.
Yep.
And you can see that we got a fair amount of spread there.
Missed maybe 3, maybe 4.
Well, that's a lot of spread. It's hard to say. We'd have to actually go up and get a closer look in order to really, really see. And as you can see, I built a set of steps here. So we can actually go up and get a closer look. At the top? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, anyway, you can see that there's quite a bit of spread here. You know, like, it looks like at least 3, 4, possibly even 5 pellets missed from that range.
Yeah, it's like the maximum effective range.
The maximum effective range, I'm just going to jump off here because I can,
is 70 yards.
The maximum effective range for a double-barreled shotgun with the long barrel is 70 yards.
But from 35 yards in...
But from 35 yards in, it's actually still a pretty decent weapon.
Yeah, you can still cover most of a body.
Yeah, and in my experience, most gun battles take place at about this range or closer. Anyway, in this game.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like if you're in some kind of a gun battle where you've got an active enemy shooting back, if you're shooting from any further away than this, you're usually using some kind of sniper weapon and sneaking up and trying to kill them before they know you're there.
Yep.
So, we'll have a look at our combat shotgun now. Nimble combat shotgun. And as you can see...
It's about like the short barrel.
It's about like the short barrel. So, if we attempted to shoot this fellow right here, which is... Okay, we'll go one up. We'll go up to here. Okay. Kind of hard to do with iron sights from this range because the targets are so small.
Real man sights.
Yeah, well, anyway. But as you can see with the combat shotgun, we got a fair amount of spread there with the short barrel. and this is at 70 yards.
Yeah, you covered mostly the panel.
Yeah. So, you know, like you can see there's a pellet way over there, just under the light fixture. There's a pellet here, right? There's a couple of pellets in behind the body. There's probably some that we can't see because of the floor
Or in the
tile
way,
there, too.
but it's very wide.
Yeah, it's a pretty wide spread. So we'll go to the long barrel one, and I actually have a short range scope on this. Right, I never bother putting more than a 4 times magnification scope on a shotgun, because even the way that we redesigned the way that shotguns shoot,
They just don't have the range.
they just don't have the range, and putting a long range scope on a shotgun is pretty pointless. So we've got an empty panel right there where Mr. Policeman is, right?
Yep.
So we'll shoot that panel. I'm using see-through scopes here, by the way, which is pretty nice. It basically gives you the option to have a longer range scope behave kind of like a reflex sight.
Yep.
So, you know, on a normal scope, basically you don't see anything outside of the scope.
Yeah.
The view through the scope takes up your entire view. Whereas with see-through scopes, you can get the magnification, but you can still kind of see your surroundings immediately around you. The view looks more like a reflex sight does. So anyway, we look at that. There's the spread from 70 yards with the combat shotgun with a long barrel.
And it looks like you missed with maybe 3 pellets.
Yeah, about half the pellets probably hit.
Yep. It's a little slightly more accurate than the double barrel
see,
shotgun.
We can get a better
but
view here. So that one maybe got him in the leg, and then we definitely missed with that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. So,
Yep.
you know, like maybe 3 pellets hit. It looks like there's a couple behind him there, right?
But that's about the maximum effective range for this shotgun, too.
But the whole point of this was to basically get shotguns, and you know what, if you, at 70 or so yards, if you hit a man-sized target with 1 or 2 pellets, well, in Fallout 4 that may not do a lot of damage, but in real life, that's more or less how a shotgun of this type would behave.
Yeah.
According to the videos that we watched that were made by people who are kind of subject matter experts, who did real live demonstrations against, like ballistic gel, human-sized target dummies
Yeah.
at measured ranges. So, anyway.
Well, it also has the beneficial effect of making shotguns effective outside of more than kissing distance. I mean, you shouldn't have to be so close that you may as well use a melee weapon and potentially VATS.
Yeah. See, this is at 35 yards. So, guy with kerchief on his face, and this is a long-barreled combat shotgun at 35 yards. And it looks like pretty well every pellet hit him, right? Yeah, one of the problems with shotguns, particularly with double-barreled shotguns, the way they were conceived in the vanilla game, is that you can only fire a shotgun twice before you can have to reload it, and the reload time is ridiculously long. And if you can only effectively hurt something when it is at this range, well, this is basically what I call point-blank range for any firearm, right?
You might as well switch to a melee weapon.
Yeah, you might as well use a melee weapon, because as soon as you fire your 2 shotgun loads, if you don't kill whatever it is that you're trying to kill,
It's meleeing with
it's
you.
going to be chewing on you, right? And you're better off with a melee weapon, because at least you have a chance to block melee attacks rather than take the full damage from them, which you will if you're holding a gun, right? So the idea was that, I wanted to
Make shotguns more
make
versatile.
shotguns more effective, and you know what? I think we did a bit of research, and we did a little bit of thinking about this, and I think we did. We made shotguns a much more effective game, or weapon in the game, and
Now you don't got 2 shells sticking out the front of your barrels.
exactly. And actually, I use shotguns a lot now. Since we made this mod, I use shotguns in my game quite a bit. They're a go-to weapon or a favorite. And, you know, like really, combat shotguns are the best, but even double-barrel shotguns at lower levels before you start to find combat shotguns, if you meet up with a tough enemy and you want to take them down fairly quickly and, you know, not at basically melee range, you want them to you want to be able to shoot them a couple times, reload, and then maybe shoot them again before they get close to you.
Yeah.
You know, particularly some of the nastier low-level enemies like wild dogs and that kind of thing that do a lot of damage
On survival.
with a single attack. Because when you're a low-level character, say level 10, you can be one-shotted by some of the wild dogs that you meet up with.
Yeah.
Right? So if I encounter a wild dog at this range and I whip out my double-barreled shotgun, I want to make sure I do enough damage to that enemy that it will either be dead or be very close to it by the time it gets close enough to be able to hurt me.
Yeah.
And with the vanilla shotguns, you just can't do that, right? You basically, it's a do or die. You either kill that enemy at this range outright or you're dead.
Yeah.
So, anyway, there we are. Shotguns. Like shotguns quite a bit. Like them better now that we have fixed up the spread to make it a little more reasonable. And yeah, so shotguns from about 35 yards in are now
Extremely deadly.
extremely deadly. And they are still somewhat effective
At longer ranges.
At longer ranges out to about 70 yards. So, anyway, I'm going to be doing a few other short videos like this to demonstrate some of the other mods that RecV5X and I have made. I've made a few mods solo, I've made some mods with RecV5X's assistance and quality control. And RecV5X has actually been the lead designer on some of the more complicated mods that we have made as well.
Hey, you're the one with the ideas.
Well, I'm an idea guy, but I don't have the technical skills to do some of the things that we've been able to do. So, anyway, future videos, hopefully RecV5X will have time to join me. He's a very busy guy. But, you know, I invited you to be along on this one since you are the co-author of this mod.
Well, thank you.
And hopefully you'll be able to make it for other future ones as well.
Well, I guess that'll be it for this one.
That's
I'm
it for this
RecV5.
one. And I'm Sandman99.
Have a good one.
Yeah.